Read all the stories about BYU sports no one else has heard. Go to KSLSports.com for exclusive columns by BYU insider Mitch Harper. That's KSLSports.com.
Welcome back, everybody. It's another edition of First and 12 right here on the KSL Sports Zone this week, of course, on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Mitch Harper. Normally we're also on KSL News Radio, but because it's a General Conference weekend, just playing over on the KSL Sports Zone. But you can always download the podcast wherever podcasts are found, and that's how we always encourage people. If you want to catch up during the week on anything Big 12 related with this program or with the local teams here, of course, between BYU and Utah, who are both members of the conference, then, of course, we can give you all of that information. But both teams are, of course, on a bye this week. We're focusing a lot on the big picture here, Mitch, this week about what these two teams are going to look like in the future. Though, so far this year, both teams have had pretty interesting goes with the injury bug. That's part of college football. All these coaches are very, very savvy about the injury bug and how difficult it is to try to get through college football. It's nearly impossible to get going through the first 5-6 weeks of the season, which both teams are now through 5 games. The Utes are 4-1. The Cougars are 5-0. And Kyle Whittingham this week addressed the media with a couple of things. One, about the play of his freshman quarterback and about the non-play of his senior quarterback, his super senior quarterback, Cam Rising. He had to address all these things this week and many other topics. But here's Coach Witt during the bye week talking about his Utah Utes and where they are right now going into their bye week.
What do you feel like you've learned in the last few days since in the game?
Oh, gosh. Really, the things we talked about in the press conference after the game, almost to a T, showed up on the tape. Didn't run the ball well enough. Didn't defend the run well enough. We dried up in the red zone. Didn't convert fourth downs. We weren't physical enough. And really, they came ready to play, and we were not as ready as they were. And they beat us, and that's what happens if you're not ready to play at your best.
Kyle, Cam's taken a lot of heat the last 2 years over his injury. It's not stuff that he can control, but is there anything maybe in how you handle injury reports or kind of the extent of how you process it that maybe can help that process? I know you can't control that either, but is there anything that way that can help?
All I'll say is Cam Rising wants to play worse than anybody, and when he's able to, he will. And it's not like he's been, just able to play and not going. That's not the case. I'm not sure what you mean when they say he's taking heat. I'm never on social media. I don't know anything that's going on out there, so I don't know where that's coming from. But I can tell you for certain that he wants to play, and as soon as he gets the go-ahead, he will play, and we hope it's this next game.
There have been true freshmen in the program who have started at quarterback and played significant time, but does Isaac impress you? Is he ahead of guys that you've had in the past?
Well, he's doing some really good things. He's also making some freshman mistakes. So there's it's a learning curve. Can't think off the top of my head who started as a true freshman in the past. If you gave me some names, I could maybe draw some comparisons, but he's done some things that have exceeded our expectations and some other things that, again, are very freshman-like. But he's shown a lot of toughness, a lot of courage. He's got a great deal of confidence, and he's got a lot of tools. He's got a lot of natural gifts to succeed at the position.
Does the way the offense has performed the past 2 weeks, I guess, emphasize the urgency to get Cam back in uniform?
Well, yeah, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and so that it's a quarterback-driven game. It's the most important position on the field, and it's not even close. And so if you got an elite quarterback like Cam Rising, yeah, that definitely helps to get him back on the field. It'll give us a big boost.
Kyle, you talked about red zone, obviously, needing to be the big focal point. Where do you attack that?
Well, we know exactly what needs to happen. We got to be better schematically, put our kids in better position to succeed. We got to tweak some things in practice, the way we're going about it. And so we've got it all mapped out. I'm not going to say anything. Arizona State, we're not going to tell them what we're going to do or how we're going to do it. But we've definitely identified problems, and we know that we can get a lot better in that area.
How do you balance using this week?
What are the most pressing issues that you need to fix before Arizona State?
Well, coming off the last game, physicality at the line of scrimmage. Like I said, we got outrushed 2-1 essentially, and that can't happen. That's exactly how we beat up on people. And so it was disappointing to see that happen. We also got to tackle better. We went some live tackling today in practice because we didn't tackle well enough. Arizona's backs did a great job. They're physical, they're fast, but things that we can correct, and we're working on them, and we expect to be much better next week, obviously.
How do you balance using a bye week to get the team healthy and get right, and increasing physicality and making sure you're ready to bring that back?
Yeah, well, we're having 2 physical practices today and tomorrow, and so that'll be part of the first part as far as getting back to being physical. But you also want to give them a break. They've been playing football now for 2 straight months. If you go back to the 1st of August when fall camp started, so it's time for a bye week, and it comes at a good time in that respect. And let them get some of the bumps and bruises healed up, get their legs back underneath them, and refresh, I guess you could say, and get ready for the second half of the season.
How do you balance getting the ball to your star players while maintaining balance and keeping others involved in the offense?
Well, you try the best you can. There's only one ball, though, and if you got playmakers and you don't get them the ball, then everyone says, why aren't you getting the ball to the playmakers? And when you do, you say, why aren't you involving everybody? I mean, it's kind of a catch-22 in a way, but bottom line is you got 3, 4, 5 playmakers on the team that are above the rest, and you try to get the ball in their hands as much as you can. That's what football's all about, is getting the ball in the hands of the playmakers and matchups and taking advantage of those matchups.
Someone like Damian Alford, you guys brought in from the portal in the offseason. What does he need to do to get on the field for you guys?
Yeah, he's still struggling a little bit with assimilating the offense and getting all his assignments down. He does have a redshirt year. That may play into now as we go through deeply into the season, and so we'll see. We still believe in him. He's got a good skill set, but just got to make less mistakes.
And that was head coach Kyle Whittingham for the Utah Utes, 4-1, 1-1 in Big 12 play, and I can only imagine the death stares that Kyle Whittingham gave to some of those reporters for those questions. And look, it's tough. Utah fans right now are not happy. It's getting to the point where people are going to NIL events and they're sizing up the fingers and like, oh, he's signing this football. This is a big. He's got these. It's not just a cut, and
he's wearing a Darth Vader glove. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah.
It's getting to be a little too much. I would love it if Whittingham just said, you know what, folks, like. It's going to be maybe one more game or 2 more games, and then just move on and then go with Isaac Wilson. But Cam Rising is critical for this team, and I'm kind of surprised, Alex, that honestly Cam still holds as much impact on this team as they did last year. Because I really thought that they got so used to life without Cam that they'll be better equipped this year with a better quarterback unit. Because Isaac Wilson's better than the pig farmer a year ago, Bryson Barnes, and they got good depth at quarterbacks. I just thought they were going to be better equipped to handle an absence of Cam, but maybe it was just too early for a freshman. But I still think Isaac Wilson's going to turn it around, and he's going to get on a great streak here if he has to start games. I just think this coming out of this bye week's going to be interesting because it does feel like fans are kind of at that point where, Cam, you better play, and if not, are we going to see a USC situation where it's like, oh, well, he's not playing for an extended period? It's hard to gauge because there's just no transparency with the injury, and we're all just wondering, when is he going to be back?
Yeah, and that's all it is at this point. When we don't get the transparency, then we start guessing, right? And that's why, Coach Whittingham, R.I.P. to that reporter. At least with the death stares, he probably doesn't exist anymore to Kyle Whittingham. But at the same time, like, the question is fine because people are wondering what's going on here. Like, and what's crazy to me is it's not just Cam Rising affecting the offense. I mean, they have so many dadgum, talented guys on that offense. I mean, so many. And we get to chat with one every week on our show with Mekhi Bernard. That guy's phenomenal. And I think that he can continue to be phenomenal, and he's really good, and they need to lean on him. But, the defense is still a pretty darn good defense, too. Like, don't get me wrong, on a national scale, they're still only giving up 15 points a game. They're still, one of the better teams. But I'll tell you, they got outplayed the other night at their own place on defense. What does that have to do with Cam Rising? Does he really have that much of an effect on what's going on inside the huddle for those Utes. You know what I mean? Like that seems so weird to me that everyone goes, yeah, I mean, him being out. I get your offense is trying to find some leadership, but they're not lacking it in the huddle. They have so many guys who know what they're doing. They have so many dudes who can actually play and who are more talented at those positions than we've seen a lot of guys for Utah in the past. But for some reason it does. It affects the entire team. But I'm hoping that defense can stay more steady over these next few games, because Arizona is going to be the least of your concerns when you start running up against teams on their turf.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, even like your UCFs that looked like garbage this weekend, but week to week they could show up and be a giant killer down there in Orlando. And I'm looking at their schedule and I'm going, geez, I guess they got everybody at home the rest of the way. But yeah, I mean it's going to be a slog for everybody. And if you're going to have to go, well, we're not very good unless we have Cam there. That kryptonite is going to affect you, and you got to be careful.
They do.
It's difficult with Witt to try to figure out.
They do, and they're banged up on the defensive side in spots with Karenni Reed, Connor O'Toole. So Utah's got to get healthy, and more than just Cam, but they also got to get over that mental hurdle of they can't operate and still be a Big 12 title contender without Cam, because regardless, in January, it's moving on to the next era. I mean, that's the thing. It's like you're only 3 months away from life without Cam forever.
Doing this anyway,
so it's like, if it has to happen earlier, like I'm not foreshadowing season ender here, but it's like that day is coming, and you can't be, you can't be paralyzed by no Cam Rising, because that day will be coming in 3 months. You just don't want it to be happening now, and you want to have the best foot forward for this Utah program as they head in to the Big 12. Get in the heart of the Big 12 play. This show, First and 12, brought to you by Macy's Grocery Store. Get the freshest fruits and vegetables from local farms and your favorite local brands. Macy's, happy shopping. We're taking a break. More of First and 12 here on the KSL Sports Zone. Mitch Harper, Alex Kirry with you on this Sunday morning. Hope all of you are having a great day this weekend. We'll talk to you more here coming up on the other side. More Big 12 football talk next.